Welcome once again to our kitchen. Today I'm going to work with leeks. This is a staple of French cuisine, and of course it's most famous for the leek and potato soup, which we can serve hot or cold under the name of vichyssoise. It's a very simple ingredient to prepare, the key being cleaning it up because it grows deep in the ground, and it's always full of dirt, so you need to clean it up. But apart from that, it's easy as can be. So I'm going to show you the soup, which is basically potato and leek. I'm going to show you how to turn it from a family simple everyday thing with 2 ingredients to a nicer, richer, all the way to a very, very classy dish that you would find in a restaurant by adding little things. But I'm also going to show you how to saute it and use it as a vegetable, and it's absolutely delicious with fish. This is the best to make a bed under a white fish like a sole or halibut or a black cod, for instance. So here we go. Let's go and make some soup with the leeks and potatoes. And here we are in the kitchen now, and I'll show you my ingredients. So here you have the potatoes, which I peeled just ahead of time. I have like 6 or 7 little potatoes because I didn't have the large ones. But if you were using the big Idaho potatoes, you know, the ones we use for baking or mashed potatoes, 3 would be plenty. And I have 2 leeks, and I'm going to first of all cut one off and put that little baby aside. We will use it later when I show you what to do with the for vegetable. So a lot of people are thinking that the green is not good. It's not at all true. It's tougher, but it's very good for the soup. So I'm taking the yellowish ones because my leeks were out for a couple of days, and now they're a little used. So that is my leek prepped, and let's do the other one. Remove the root. Let's remove, it's very easy, you put it off, and you see what I was telling you, the dirt, it's because all that part, all the white part stays in the ground. And let's take off the ends. And I'm going to use, for my soup, there's 1.5 leeks, but I could have the 2 of them. So I would say 2 leeks will give you a very nice soup with 3 to 4 potatoes. And of course, as usual, you will play with the consistency of your soup by adding more or less potatoes and more or less water. So let's cut my potatoes so they'll cook faster. And let's put them aside. Now the key, cleaning the leek. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to cut it in the middle. And you will soon see why. A leek is made of layers and layers. And look what I told you. You have dirt in there. So we're going to clean them thoroughly. I'm going to make sure my bowl is clean as well. And we're going to just wash them under running water. And that's about all. That's the only work you're going to have to really do for that soup, is to make sure that you don't have any dirt in there. Takes a couple of minutes. But you see, when you get to the middle, there's a lot less because it's really very tight. So you just need to do that. But make sure that you don't have any dirt in the green. That's a lot of dirt. And in fact, here I have more than dirt. It's a little bad, so let's put it aside. Nice and clean. Same thing here. I have a little part which is bad. Put it aside. You can see the dirt. It's right there. I don't want it. I just want clean leaves. And I'm done. So now next, let's move the camera. You're going to cut them roughly. And that's it. So now for making it a little better. So if you want to do a vegan leek and potato soup, that's all you need. You have your potatoes and your leek ready to go. You're going to take your pot, you're going to put them in, you're going to cover with water, salt and pepper, and you're going to let them cook. I'm going to make it a little fancier. How do you make it fancier? Well, you're going to add a little bit of butter. So now it's not vegan anymore, obviously. It's going to be vegetarian, but it's going to help you make the leek sweat. What do we mean by that? You want to take off some of the water from the vegetable so the flavor is stronger. So I just added my leeks in the butter and I'm having them sweat a little bit, which means getting rid of the extra water which is in there. Then after that, I'm going to add my potatoes. And again, if you want to keep it very simple, you're just going to add water. I want it a bit richer, so I'm going to show you what I did. I prepared some chicken stock. You don't have chicken per se, so I used a little bit of chicken base and water. Again, this is because I like it to be a little richer, but you can actually absolutely cover your potato and leeks with water. I'm going to do that now. My potatoes and my leeks. And I'm going to add my chicken stock. And I'm going to add a little bit more water. You want to cover everything. Let's give it a little stir. I also added salt and pepper, and that's pretty much up to you, the amount you want to put in. And now it's gonna cook. How long does it take to cook? Well, depends on the size of your potato pieces. The key is you need them to be tender. You go and try them with a knife or a fork, and if they're tender, your soup is ready to be, pureed. In the meantime, while this is cooking, I'm going to show you what to do with the other half of my leek. Here I have the second half of the leek, which I kept aside. So obviously we're going to remove the top, and for this dish I'm going to cut them that way, little circles, and they're going to fall apart. That doesn't matter, because what we're going to do, we're going to make them melt. This is hard. In some butter. And what we're doing is called a fondue, a melting of leeks. And that's going to be an amazing side for any fish. The tradition is to use it as a bed for white fish. any kind of white fish. So obviously I need to wash them carefully, but it's easier because it's the white part, so there's a lot less dirt. You can see that by yourself. But you rinse them and rinse them under water. We're going to pat them dry. Paper towel. So I'm showing you what to do with that half leek. You would need probably about half a leek per person if you were making the dish for a family. So of course what you'll do, you use that white part, and the pale green and dark green is going to be fantastic for a soup for another day. And now what do we have here? I have pepper, I have salt, and I have a nice dash of butter in my frying pan. And we're going to melt the leeks in butter. Okay, once again, let's do it simple first. A little bit of butter, the leeks, salt, and pepper. This is the base of your dish. Now you want to make it a little fancier. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to add some white wine to give it more flavor. And that will be very delicious. If you can also add heavy cream at the end, and it's going to turn into some kind of a sauce really to put underneath your fish. So let's make sure the butter melts. And let's put our leeks in there. Give it a little stir. So you see some of them separate already. It's going to happen as we cook. That's what we want. Some salt. Today I'm using Himalayan pink salt. Could be any salt. You know, I'm crazy about salt, so I have a collection of them. White pepper. And this time I really am using white pepper because I don't want it to show too much. Because the beauty of that dish is to stay pale. If you have black pepper, it's going to show too much. Let's make sure it mixes. So I'm going to cover it for a minute or two to make the onion sweat. That means getting rid of the extra water which is in there. In the meantime, our soup is cooking. Nice and bubbly. Give it another little stir. Mix the pepper. The leek is the same family as the onion and the garlic and the shallots, and the flavor is a little bit similar. There is, you know, a family resemblance, that's for sure, except that it's milder. So that's why it's not going to overpower your fish if you serve it with a fish. Now let me tell you something as well. This little round leeks, you can steam them, and when they're nice and tender, pat them dry and just serve them cold in a vinaigrette, and that is one of the most refreshing salads that you can get to start the meal or to put with shrimp or chicken. So I told you I cannot help myself, I have to make it a little fancier. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to add some white wine. And I'm going to lower the temperature and let it simmer until all that juice is gone and the leek is getting translucent, and it's going to be done. We're back. Our little leeks are ready. You can see they're tender and translucent. And I'm going to now put them on a serving plate. This is what you want them to look like. They're nice and tender. You can see they're translucent. And this is what we call fondue de poireau or melt leeks. And this is this most amazing bed for a nice fish. In the meantime, let's go and look at our soup. And now we're going to finish our soup. It's nicely cooked. I'm going to use my immersion blender, make some noise, but I'm going to puree everything. You can see, I told you I was going to make it a little fancier, so what am I going to do? I'm going to add half a cup of heavy cream. Give it a little... Beautiful. I'm ready to serve. And I'm going to show you a last little trick to make it really worth a restaurant, a beautiful French restaurant. So you see, that's exactly the consistency I wanted. Here is my soup. So of course you can serve it right now. It's beautiful, it's soft, it's smooth, but I'm going to make it even better. I'm going to add a little touch of crème fraîche, a dollop of crème fraîche. This is very, very French, but if you don't have crème fraîche, you can use sour cream. It will work as well. So let's do it. A nice dollop of crème fraîche on top. Turn it around so it's nice and stays on top. And I'm going to add a little bit of basil that I cut from my balcony. And now, from a everyday soup, you have a fantastic restaurant quality, delicious soup de poireaux à la crème fraîche. Bon appétit, until next week.